Throw the slack, you fucking moron!
Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and dogs. Welcome to Screen Share, a movie podcast about dogs.
Wow.
Ruff, ruff. You know,
Oh,
that's a rough start, actually.
there it is, huh?
Welcome to Screen Share, a movie podcast about going and saving dogs from Trash Island. I guess that's better. I don't know. My name's Adam Cook.
Laramus.
Call-
My name is Calder.
There it is.
Sorry, you don't like that? You don't like it when I hide my identity?
Well, I don't mind the bit that you don't say your name, but going it just isn't enough. What if this is someone's first episode listening and they just think you like had it?
Then hopefully they watch some other movies besides Isle of Dogs.
Maybe we've got one big Isle of Dogs fan listening.
And I don't want them to listen.
So this is the first. Nope, it's not the first anything. This is the. Well, I guess
First
it's the
time we've
first
done a Wes
stop
Anderson
motion
movie.
First Wes Anderson, first stop motion movie we've done. But what I meant to say is this is the third episode of my birthday month where I got all the picks.
Mm-hmm.
We've done Spirited Away. Last
Apollo
week we did
13.
Apollo 13, and now we're doing Isle of Dogs, which is a Wes Anderson movie. I think it was the first Wes Anderson movie I ever saw,
Okay.
which is a bit of a weird one to
That's
start
kind of
on.
surprising. I feel like Grand Budapest was a lot of like, that was like the mainstream one that a lot of people
That's the
saw.
second one that I saw, and I like that film a lot. So,
What'd you
but-
think?
of Grand Budapest,
Both.
Grand Budapest I liked a lot. I mean, he's got a very distinct style, and I think it's kind of fun. And I really like Tony Revolori, who has a big role in Grand Budapest Hotel. So I enjoyed that a lot.
And now he's Flash Gordon.
Is he?
Yeah, in the Spider-Mans.
Oh, I didn't know that was Flash Gordon. I thought it was just Flash something else.
Oh, Thompson, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Because Flash Gordon is like another superhero or something. I don't know
Yeah.
enough.
Maybe I'm a liar. I think I'm a liar.
nerds.
Okay.
Sorry. So this is Isle of Dogs. I chose this film for my birthday month because I went and I saw this in theaters. It had a very limited release,
And where'd you see it?
especially in Canada. I had to drive all the way to Mississauga to see it. But I
Whoa.
remember I was hanging out with a mutual friend of ours, Jordan.
Oh,
And he was like, "Hey, you want to go see a movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, do you care what movie?" And he was like, "No." So
I
then
feel like that's happened like a handful of times with you and Jordan.
I think so.
Like, didn't you go to see Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah. Yeah. And he hadn't seen the first Blade Runner, and we saw it, and we got out of the movie, and he was like, "What'd you think?" And I was like, "That was like really good. What'd you think?" And he was like, "It was kind of slow, and I didn't really get what was going on." And I was like, "Yeah, I get that." And the same thing happened with Isle of Dogs, kind of, where we drove past like the closer theater that we would usually go to, and he was like, "Hey, like, what? Are we not going to that theater?" And I was like, "Oh no, sorry. The movie we're seeing is like only playing at this theater." And he was like, "Oh, okay." So we drove like an extra 25, 30 minutes.
What made you want to see this then?
I think I just saw the trailer and I was like, "That looks fun." I think
Did it live up to expectations?
I like it.
Is it one of your
like
favorites?
it a lot. Favorite movies?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably in my top like 25 or 30. Like
That could be a good episode. We make our top 20 lists.
maybe top 10s. I feel like each of us doing a top
What if we
20
did top
list would be a lot.
50s?
Oh, that's
And then
good.
One episode we go through mine,
And then one
which
episode
will be better. And then one episode we go through yours, which will have things like the Bionicles 2 movie. And
Dude, choosing Bionicle 2 was a bad choice. But
Holy head, you could have been Lava Bones.
see, that's Bionicle 1. That's the actual good one.
Oh, sorry.
Mask of Light. You could have been Makuta Bones. But yeah, I like Isle of Dogs. When I saw it, I was like I said, I hadn't seen a Wes Anderson movie before, so it was just kind of like unlike anything I'd ever seen before, in a way.
'Cause you're like, I didn't know they could make things so symmetrical.
Yeah. Well, everything just feels so like deliberate. But also there's like kind of a whimsy to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked it when I saw it the first time. I've seen it a couple times since. I have the Blu-ray.
It's a pretty impressive movie when you think about like them having to make it. I feel like that with every stop motion movie where I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, they really did this, huh?
Mm-hmm. There's a movie that I have for the animation month that's $100p locked in. That's like another
Which one?
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Is that stop?
Yeah, it's stop motion as
Wow.
well. But like that's one that's probably the best stop motion movie I've seen. I think. I haven't seen every stop motion.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Haven't seen it yet.
Or Mad God.
Have never heard of that one.
Or Coraline.
I haven't seen Coraline. I've seen like Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, that's a good one.
Princess
Bride? Is that stop motion?
Princess Bride?
No, Corpse Bride.
Corpse Bride. I was like, Princess Bride is not stop motion.
Well, I mean, there's a... Could be.
Wow, good argument. Good argument.
Nightmare on Christmas Alley.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. I've seen that for sure.
I don't know. I just like don't remember the names of these like kids movies.
Fucking the end of the bit's back. But this was like one of the first times that I saw, like, I heard of a movie that was like not like Star Wars, and I like made a point to go out and see it. Like, I was gonna see it by myself.
Yeah.
And then Jordan was like, "You want to see a movie?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, actually, I want to see this one." He was like, "Cool," but like that never really happened before. I only ever really saw movies if it was convenient to see it with friends. But with this one, I was like, I want to go see that.
What was the first movie you saw alone? Because you've told me this a couple times.
Shape of Water.
Right.
Guillermo del Toro.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I remember I was like, all right, I'm going out to a movie, and my parents were like, oh, what movie you seeing? I was like, Shape of Water, because I know it's like got some Oscar buzz, so I want to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, who you seeing it with? And I was like, no, I'm just going to see it. They were like, what? Do you want us to come with you? Mm-hmm. And they were like worried about me, and I'm like, no, I just.
Are you suicidal, Adam?
Yeah, I was just like, no, I just want to see this movie alone. It was kind of nice.
Yeah, I like going to movies alone.
It felt like kind of weird to do the first time, because I was just like, I guess I'm just getting some snacks alone.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'm just.
You feel like an absolute pervert when you go to the movies alone.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
It's like when you go to eat at a restaurant alone, and you're like.
Yeah.
Like a sit-down restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, like, even if I go to like Wendy's and get food by myself and sit by myself, I'm like, is everyone looking at me and being like, that guy's alone?
Going up to like a hostess and being like, table for one, and the look on their face.
Yeah, they're just like, oh.
They're like, okay.
Sure.
And then they sit you over in the corner. And then what do? You just go on your phone.
And the truth is they usually put you at a table for two.
Yeah, and
which
they just
makes
take away
it a
the
little
plate.
more sad.
They just take away the extra cutlery, and you're like,
it just feels like they're being like, someone else could be here.
We need this for someone else who like actually has multiple people coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but going to the movies alone, I do actually kind of enjoy. It's rare that I want to see a movie bad enough to go alone.
I used to go alone a lot in Waterloo.
Okay.
Especially before COVID.
Yeah. You went pretty often when we lived together in Toronto.
Yeah, I did.
Sometimes you'd be like, want to come with?
Yeah.
I'd usually say, yeah.
Yeah.
But
some of the times I'd be going to see like a 3-hour-long Japanese movie, and I was like,
yeah.
He's not going to like this.
Why not? Is it?
I mean, you like the subs on Spirited Away, so.
You mean the dub?
Either or. But I distinctly remember being in a completely empty theater for Bad Boys for Life or something.
Oh yeah, Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah, and also Harley Quinn.
Oh, like the
Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah,
and I was just all alone in a movie theater for like 250 people.
Yeah. The most empty theater I've been at was either Olivia and my first date. We saw live action Lion King,
and that was empty.
It was us. I think it had been out for like 2 weeks at that point.
I mean,
Still though, it was us.
The thing made $1.5 billion.
Yeah, it was a little bit surprising. We were a bit
Where'd
surprised.
you go to see it?
It was probably in Waterloo, yeah.
Like at that Galaxy Theater?
Yeah, I think so. Like the one in the mall.
That one is not
I think.
busy very often.
No. And it was literally us and one other couple. We went in there when there was no one sitting in there. We sat in the middle, and then the other couple sat like in the row behind us.
That's psychotic.
Which is psychotic. And then like everyone's seen The Lion King already. If you're watching Lion King for the first time, watching the live action Lion King, that's your own fault. So like there were just moments during the movie that Olivia and I would like whisper to each other or like laugh.
Did they have a problem?
They had a big problem. Like I thought we were being pretty quiet. It was just like once in a while we'd be like, "Oh, here comes the big fall." I don't fucking remember
whatever.
the jokes we were making, but like we were just like joking. Like when Mufasa died, we like laughed a little bit because like it wasn't very emotional compared to the original movie.
Yeah.
But like we got shushed by this couple, and it's like, then don't sit near us. And also, like, if they wouldn't have shushed us if it was a full theater.
No.
And like, but like we also, like, we were being just as quiet as if it was a full theater. You know.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
it was
That's
just very
psychotic.
strange.
Those two people probably should be in a mental institution.
Yeah.
Hillary and I also went to see 50 Shades Darker
Nice.
on Valentine's Day.
That's the second one, right?
Third one.
I thought Freed was the third one.
Well, then we saw that one. We saw the third one. And we were alone in the theater on Valentine's Day.
That's good.
In Quebec, too. This
Wow.
is when I was in Quebec.
Nice.
So, like, it wasn't in French, but it was very strange. I missed out on a lot of movies. I know we haven't talked about Isle of Dogs for a minute.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I missed out on a lot of movies when I was living in Quebec for that year because the theater was so far away.
Yeah.
And I also hated myself. Like, I didn't go to see Black Panther in theaters or, like, Thor Ragnarok or, like, all those because it was just, like, a 35-minute bus ride. And I'm not going to ride a French bus
Is it worth,
alone.
like, almost an hour of transit for a 2-hour movie? Yeah.
So I just ordered Domino's and watched John Wick.
That's fair.
Isle of Dogs.
Well, actually, I wanted to add one more empty theater story.
Okay.
The only other time I had a very empty theater was also with Jordan, but also with a mutual friend, Victoria.
Never heard of her.
Okay. The three of us were just like, hey, let's go see a movie. And we looked at what was in the theaters, and it was just like nothing. It was just one of those periods where there was nothing. So we saw Teen Titans Go to the movies.
Was it good?
Like, the thing is, I thought it was, like, fun. Like, there were some good jokes in there. But, like, we just kept saying the whole time. Because, like, it was actually empty. It was just us three. So we just sat in the middle. We, like, walked around, tried different seats to test the sound. We were, like, talking full volume the whole time. But, like, it was just very much, like... like trying to keep your attention every second. Like there was just so much happening
it's like a
always.
Kids movie, right?
Yeah, it was just like, and then they had like a post credit scene where the actual Teen Titans came on, and it's like
that.
we're trying to come back or whatever. And then I was like, oh wow, maybe they'll do that. But I was like, judging by the fact that there's an empty theater for this movie, maybe
that movie
not.
did pretty well, I think. Though
It
I think
did
it made like
okay.
$100 million.
Yeah, I think it did fine. And I think they did do a Teen Titans Go crossover thing, but it was for like TV.
One more theater story.
All right.
My dad took us to Buffalo for Christmas one year.
The city.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know whether Buffalo was just a movie. I didn't know.
Oh no. He took me to see Pittsburgh Penguins, because I was a big Sidney Crosby boy.
Sure.
Versus Buffalo Sabres game. And then while that was happening, my stepmom and sisters went to go see Four Christmases in theaters in a sketchy Buffalo theater. It was just them and like two older people.
Nice.
There you go.
There it is.
There it is. Buffalo's kind of a strange
dude,
town.
Those empty theater stories went down in quality with
By
each
a lot.
one.
But they were like doing cartwheels and shit. That's what it reminded me, where it's like you guys were like, we were walking around testing the sound.
Yeah. I just like that we started at you were in a theater for a movie by yourself, and then we ended in a story that neither of us were even present for.
I mean, I saw Sydney that night.
That's true.
I did see him in the hotel lobby because I guess we were at the nicest hotel in Buffalo, which is like a 3-star Best Western.
I'm going to tell a story that I hope it's a little bit embarrassing for my mom, but
my sister got lice
funny.
or something on that trip.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah.
My mom saw Jerome McGinley in a
I love
hotel
Jerome.
one time, but she didn't really know who he was. So like when she came home, she was like talking to us about it, and she was like, there was a hockey player at the like hotel I was at for work, and I was like, oh cool, which player? And she was like, it was Jerame Gunla, and I was like, Jerame Gunla. It's like that's literally the end of the bit. Just she mispronounced Jerome McGinley's name.
I like Jerome McGinley,
but like, I just thought that was funny.
Anyway,
we
I love dogs.
Anyway, back to the
Bryan
movie.
Cranston.
Well, yeah, Bryan Cranston. Let's just go through some quick things. Written and directed by Wes Anderson, as we said. A cast of Koyu Rankin. I hope I'm pronouncing most of these right. Kunichi Nomura. That's Atari and Mayor Kobayashi are those two. And
that one guy's angry.
Yeah, and I think Nomura, the guy who voiced Kobayashi, he also co-wrote
Isn't actually
it.
Angry Man. Oh
no, yeah, he's actually an angry guy. That's why they got him. But it also has Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Bob Balaban, Jeff Goldblum, Bill Murray, Greta Gerwig, Scarlett Johansson, Frances McDormand, F. Murray Abraham, Tilda Swinton, Ken Watanabe, Harvey Keitel, and Ken. I said Ken Watanabe twice on my list.
He deserves it.
He deserves it. But yeah, it's a big cast.
Silly. Have you seen the cast for his new movie coming out, Asteroid City?
Yes.
Fucking hell, man.
Dude, each of those people is being paid $2.
The background actors in that movie are going to be A-listers. Like, what the hell?
Man. I mean, each of those people is, aside from like one or two, are going to be in it for maybe 1 minute.
I mean, that's what happens in this movie, too.
Yeah. I mean, well, at least in this movie, we've got like 5 or 6 like
main characters.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Frances McDormand's in it for a while. She's the translator person, right? Tilda Swinton's like not in it all that much. She's the little dog. F. Murray Abraham
honestly,
has, like,
most of her lines are her going, huh?
Yeah.
When she's watching
F.
TV.
Murray Abraham has like a handful of lines.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He does this a lot, especially with his newer movies where it's like there's really famous people in it.
Well, I think it's a lot of like
he's
he's got a bunch of actors that he's like, well, you got to be in my next one.
Yeah.
So he just gives them something, and like he's prolific enough of a director that actors want to be in his movies. So
and I think he just treats the actors pretty well. I've heard stories where it's like they have dinners every night when they're on set, and like they actually go to shoot in the places, like not with this obviously, but like for the French Dispatch, they're like living in the town and like actually spending time there and doing shit there, which is a lot better than like being in a fucking Marvel movie where you're just in Atlanta
and in a trailer. Yeah. So yeah, it's a big cast, and I do feel like Wes Anderson is like a bit of an actor's director. Yeah. But also he's like...
And he's got like a specific style. Yeah. And there's a chance that you could get nominated for an Oscar if you're in his movie.
Yeah.
And like even if you're not, it's going to get acclaim most likely.
Mm-hmm. This was nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Mm-hmm. Did it win?
I don't think so.
What did it lose to?
No.
I can check it.
It was also nominated for Best Original Score. I think it lost to... Oh, man. I remember it being nominated and me being like, oh, that's going to win. And then another... I think it was Spider-Verse. It might have been Spider-Verse.
They came out in the same year?
Maybe.
Let's see. I'll look it up.
I just remember the one that beat it.
Oh, it was 2019.
Was like, yeah, that deserves to beat it.
So what do you think about the plot of this movie?
So the first time that I saw the movie, I feel like I followed the general plot, which was... Mayor Kobayashi loves cats, hates dogs, exiles dogs because they get sick. They live on a trash island. His adopted nephew, Atari, lost his dog, so he goes to Trash Island to save his dog, meets another group of dogs, and then they have a bunch of adventures that eventually get them back to mainland Japan and the fictional city of Megasaki. Mm-hmm. And basically they stand up to the uncle and prove that all of these diseases can be cured.
Yes.
Because he's like, Mayor Kobayashi's trying to like
get rid of all the
squash out
dogs,
the vaccine.
kill all the dogs.
Yeah. Did he, I can't really fully remember, did he like created or him and his like board of directors or whatever created these diseases?
I think so.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So just to go back,
Yeah.
Spider-Verse did win.
Nice, yeah.
But it was up against Incredibles 2 and Ralph Breaks the Internet and Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, that's a pretty great animated feature.
This was such a great year for movies, and then fucking Green Book won the Oscar.
Yeah. We've talked about that a little bit, but
wow.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like 2019 was honestly kind of a good year for content.
Like Mission
in
Impossible
general.
Fallout came out. Well, it was 2018 because it was the 2019 Oscars.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I messed that up. But Mission Impossible Fallout, Venom, Infinity War, Black Panther, Incredibles 2, Aquaman. Those were the highest grossing ones.
Yeah, you're kind of losing me as far as like quality movies go. But,
Vice.
okay.
What was the other ones? Wait, hold on. I fucked it up. I had a case here and then it broke. A Star is Born, The Favorite, Black Klansman.
Okay.
Wow. We've talked about this year a couple times.
Yeah. I think it was just a good year for movies.
And then the next year's even better.
Yeah, 2019.
And then the year after that,
we have a disease on our hands.
Bad Boys for Life.
And it's not snout fever or dog flu. But yeah, what do you think of this movie?
I think it's really well made.
Mm.
I've never, I guess aside from Grand Budapest, I never like kind of click into Wes Anderson movies, kind of like we were talking about with Spirited Away, where it's like it
takes you a minute to click in. Yeah.
Well, it takes me a minute, and then I never do click in
for these movies.
Yeah. I feel like the script is a little too like cut back and forth. Like there's a part of me that like feels like there's no. I didn't connect to any of the characters really.
Yeah.
Especially Chief. Like he just
the main
seemed like
dog, Bryan Cranston dog.
I think the plot's pretty like basic, but the world is incredible, and then it takes a lot of time to tell you about the world.
Yeah.
But it like you're 45 minutes in and then the plot kind of starts happening. But you've had 45 minutes of someone like explaining a dream they had about this incredible world and like this incredible story.
Yeah.
You know, like that sounds really cool. But then like the character emotionally, I just didn't like care about a lot of the characters, you know?
I get you.
And it just felt like there was a lot of like cutback, flashback 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
I feel like the plot is already kind of hard enough to follow just because it's Wes Andersonized, but then there's also a bunch of time jumps forward and back that kind of like make it even harder to follow.
And I feel like there's a couple things we didn't need. Like this is I'm pretty sure this is 2 hours long, right? Yeah. I feel like we don't need the Greta Gerwig stuff.
So I'll get into it a bit later, but like, yeah, the Greta Gerwig character. So, yeah, I say we like talk about like the movie in general and then we'll get into this. But like at the beginning they have like a disclaimer that's like every character will speak in their native language.
Yeah.
Aside from aside from translators and the dogs who are translated to English.
Yeah.
Which like it kind of makes it clear that it's made for a Western audience.
Yeah.
But then, like, that gets into kind of a bit of weird territory, which is, like, what we'll get into later. But, like, as far as how that affects, like, the story, it kind of feels like there's only a few characters you're really meant to invest in, which is the dogs.
And then Gerwig.
And Greta Gerwig's character of Tracy, foreign exchange student Tracy Walker.
Yeah.
Because
she's
she's
a white girl with a huge blonde
afro. Yeah, it's a little strange.
Yeah.
But
like all the character design's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But like,
why don't we just get into this thing?
Okay, let's get into it. Okay. I just feel like starting off with like a big negative is of it's strange, but like,
I mean,
so there was a bit of backlash when this movie was coming out that it's like it's using Japanese culture in like kind of a not infantilizing way, but it's like it both like praises Japanese culture while also kind of like
focusing on some stereotypes.
Yeah. It's like the quote that I saw is that it's like it's equal parts appreciating the culture and appropriating the culture.
Yeah.
Where it's like the Japanese characters talk in Japanese, but we don't get subtitles for them.
So then it's hard to like connect to Atari, who's like the human that you're with most of the time.
Yeah, and the only way that we really get to connect to Atari, like through like knowing what he's saying, is when he says very simplified Japanese so that it's easy for us to understand.
Yeah.
Or when he's got his little headset on and is talking to the dogs, because then we just hear the dogs replying.
Yeah.
But like then, because everything's got to come back to Star Wars for me, then it kind of turns into like Atari's like the equivalent of R2-D2.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, we only really understand what he's talking based on like
other characters.
His emotion saying what he's saying.
Yeah.
And through other characters talking to him. So
like,
then it
why
feels,
not just have the subtitles?
Yeah.
Right? Just find an interesting way to put the subtitles in there.
Because the thing is, they do have subtitles sometimes. So it's like, why not just do that all the time and just kind of make it more consistent? Because it then feels weird when it's like, yeah, we're having all of our Japanese characters talk in Japanese, but all of the dogs are Western American.
Yeah.
And also, like, we're going to tell a lot of the story through this, like, white savior character of Greta Gerwig's character.
Also, the Japanese is translated sort of through the Frances McDormand character.
Yeah.
Which
her character is literally just to be like, we still got to follow this self-imposed rule, but this will make it easier for us. Which is just a little weird.
So I just felt like there was not enough character in the dogs for me, and then there was no real human that I could connect to. Like, I don't know. I feel like the whole Greta Gerwig plot could just not be in the movie, and then we'd be okay. Like, there'd be a more interesting way to figure it out. Like, because if Atari can talk, then we probably don't need the Greta Gerwig character. But since Atari can't talk, we kind of need that character to figure all this shit out.
Yeah, and like I'm fine with the Greta Gerwig character being there as like, oh, while Atari's trying to find his dog, there's also someone on like in Megasaki who's like unraveling this conspiracy. It's just a little bit weird that she's like
the hero.
Yeah, she's like the hero of this student union thing, but like it's like I did a bit of reading about the controversy, and it's a lot of people being like, there's kind of a stereotype about Japanese people that they're very like passive.
Yeah.
So like it's a little bit weird for especially her like kind of introduction scene where everyone's like everyone else in the student union's kind of like quiet and not saying or doing anything.
Yeah, and then she's like yelling.
And she's like yelling and being like, I'm very passionate about this. And then they're like, oh, well, okay, if you say so. And like, that's where the white savior thing comes in, where it's basically her being like, I'm a foreign exchange student. I'm not from here, but I'm living here now, and everything you're doing is weird, and here's how to fix it. And it's like, that's a little strange. So, like, I don't think she's a bad character. I just think she's kind of like, she could be way more interesting if she was just like Japanese. Like, I think if she was just like another Japanese student.
If you just like subtitled some Japanese dialogue.
Yeah, it would literally be fine if it was just like not the one white character in the movie.
I don't know. I just like just didn't click for me. I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's made really well. All the models and stuff are like incredible. Yeah. So it's nothing about that. It's just like I find it hard to get into the scripts for a lot of Wes Anderson movies because like it's not like they're just visually quirky. The story's also kind of quirky.
And like the flow is very specific.
And I think I just like I've watched a couple since, because Grand Budapest was my first one. I've watched a couple since then. And like I started watching Steve Zissou and I was like, I watched The French Dispatch in theaters and I was kind of like, it just like doesn't really click for me.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to go watch Asteroid City.
Same.
It's going to happen.
Probably.
And we'll see if I like that one. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I can't just go to a movie for like how it looks and still enjoy it. I gotta like some characters. I gotta like the plot. And I just like didn't find it this time.
I think that's why there's like just enough there for me to like it. I think it's like visually incredible. I really like the music a lot. And like, I do like the relationship between Atari and the group of dogs. And like, truly, I really like Spots, like Atari's actual dog. Like, that's the first time, like when we do a little bit of a flashback and we find out that like he was basically abducted by the cannibal dogs.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're not going to eat you. We're just helping you. We ate one dog because he was like dying and we were also dying. Like,
yeah, that's a good scene.
Yeah. Like that felt like a scene where it's like I felt sympathetic for those dogs. I felt sympathetic for Spots. Spots meets like, what was it? Peppermint, who's like one of the dogs that was experimented on in this facility. So she's got like tubes coming out of her. But like, then we flash back forward. He saves Atari and the other dogs, and then they get back and they find out that like Spots is like, I'm sorry, I can't serve you, Master Atari, because I've got new responsibilities. And that's when Chief then becomes Atari's new servant dog.
Yeah.
But like, the whole Spots thing I felt like was quite good, but I felt like we got a tiny bit at the beginning and then a little bit at the end, and that was basically it. I kind of wish we got a little more, but...
and I feel like there's not a ton of character building for anyone else, also aside from Chief.
Yeah.
But even then, it feels very thin, and I think it's just because there's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
With the Kobayashi... Like, there's 4 plots. There's the Kobayashi plot, there's the Greta Gerwig plot, there's the Atari plot, and there's the dogs plot.
Yeah.
And, like, the Atari and, like, some of them cross over and, like, meld, but, like... When Atari goes with the dogs, he kind of takes over as like the driver of stuff. Chief has that one scene with Scarlett Johansson's dog,
Nutmeg.
Yeah,
who is also Greta Gerwig's dog.
Yeah,
coincidentally.
And then at the end, it kind of comes back around, and maybe they're gonna be in love. But like, there's the one scene, and then an hour and a half later, there's some closure. And it's just like the movie's plot is very overstuffed.
Yeah,
and it. Like, it just does a bit of a disservice to the characters.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of committed to having character development for Chief.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, the rest of the dogs just are those dogs.
Who they say they are.
Like Edward Norton, Jeff Goldblum, like all of those dogs, they're just like Bill Murray. They are the same at the end as they are at the beginning.
Yeah.
I guess the only development is that like there's kind of like a power imbalance between like in that dog
between the
group.
4 ones who had owners and chief.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
kind of, because they Chief was a stray, which we later find out he was actually the runt of the litter that Spots was from. So he was I guess
Cast away,
and then
he
became
also
a
has
stray.
a biting problem.
Yeah, he has a biting problem. But
And we also see that he's very dirty.
he's very dirty. At the beginning, he's a jet black dog. At the end, he's like a white
with
dog
spots.
with little speckles. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a power imbalance between Chief and the other four because he's clearly the strong. He's a stray and he's clearly the strongest.
And they
and the
vote
most
on
aggressive.
everything, and then the four vote together, basically, and then it's him.
Yeah. So clearly Edward Norton's character of, I think it was there was Rex. Oh wait, I actually have the Blu-ray right
It's
here.
down there. I think those four dogs, I like some of their jokes and stuff.
Yeah,
when
their
they talk about
chemistry's kind of fun.
have you heard the rumor?
Yeah.
I think that's funny.
It's Boss, Rex, Duke, and King. But Edward Norton, I think, is
He's one of them.
is Rex. But he's clearly the better leader.
Mm-hmm.
Than Chief is. Chief kind of just assumes the leader position because he's the most aggressive, I guess. But then slowly, more and more, Rex kind of becomes more of the leader until Chief doesn't give a shit anymore because now the whole time he's very resistant to Atari.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I don't care about this kid. I just want to find garbage on this island to eat. But then, eventually Atari kind of breaks him down and, plays fetch with him, gives him a bath, gives him a puppy snack.
Gotta get those treats.
And then eventually he's just wow, I've never, been loved this way. And he kind of just, went after because the other four dogs, when they're, on the conveyor belt, what's that called? Gondola system thing?
Like the tram or whatever?
Yeah. The four dogs go into an incinerator, basically, get covered in poison and blown up and
But
shit.
the timing's bad.
But the timing's bad because it's so old, so they somehow survive. But when that happens, Chief's just kind of oh, they're all dead. Oh well. But then and he's still very gruff. Then he spends time with Atari. The other four dogs come back. They're very angry because they just went through hell. And Chief is like, oh yeah, you gave me a bath and played fetch with me and it was really nice. And they're like, you did that? And he's like, yep. And he's just completely
He's a completely
changed.
different guy, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that just makes them more angry. But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like Chief is kind of the character that gets development.
Yeah.
I feel like Greta Gerwig's character's kind of the same at the end as she is at the beginning.
Yeah,
she just
pretty much.
succeeded in her goal. And then Atari,
He's the same the whole time.
yeah, he's the same the whole time. I guess he becomes more determined and whatever, but it's at the start of the movie he steals a plane and flies it to Garbage Island. That's
Yeah, and then at the end he builds a boat and takes it across the sea.
yeah, and makes his distant uncle resign from his mayoral position.
As you do.
And then he assumes the mayoral seat, which is I guess
As
a
a
rule.
13-year-old, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just the plot didn't click for me.
Yeah. I get that.
What do you think about the voice actors? Because I found Cranston a little distracting when I'd listen to his voice. You know?
I did feel when he was listing the names of the other dogs, he's giving them a pet dog. He's your king, your duke, your Rex, your boss. And he said each of them in a different way.
Yeah.
And I was it's just I feel the way that they must have been directed to voice act is just a little strange. Even Edward Norton, they all have very specific ways of talking, but it all feels very like condensed. I don't know if that's the right way. It could just be
because they're supposed to be like speaking in barks that are translated.
Maybe.
So maybe it's like keeping it tight.
Yeah, but then like Edward Norton talks like, yeah, I don't know. This is kind of what I heard, you know? And like,
yeah,
they just like, they talk in different ways, but it all has the same kind of like energy where it's like my favorite moments from the dogs are like when they start to get emotional when talking to Atari, for example. Mm-hmm. It's like, that feels like, oh, I'm actually getting something else from these performances.
Yeah.
Because they're actually like lowering their voices and doing something with it. Mm-hmm. But for the rest of the time, they're all basically talking in the same way, kind of.
I don't think I found any of the voice acting distracting.
Aside from Bryan Cranston?
I guess. But even then, it's like, I would kind of forget that it was Bryan Cranston because I guess he just wouldn't talk for a while in the movie also.
Yeah.
But I did think that like the Greta Gerwig voice was very noticeable for some reason, and I guess it's because she's playing like a white character that like you could dress her up like that in real life. So
yeah,
I was like,
and she kind of had room to like actually do more.
Because she was also a person.
Yeah.
And I also found the Scarlett Johansson stuff a little like distracting, but then the dog also like kind of matches what I think she would look like as a dog. And like the stop motion animation's so good that like the way that she's like, yeah, and this goes for all the dogs, but like I noticed it with her specifically, like the way she's like slightly moving her head, that dog.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how Scarlett Johansson moves her head when she talks.
If she was a dog.
Yeah. I was like, this is like a really good version of Scarlett Johansson as a dog, which is like, I feel like the triumph of this movie is the fact that they fucking did it. Like they made the movie, because the animation's incredible. I think you might have looked this up in your research, but like the amount of models and the amount of like faces, and
there were about 20,000 faces and 1,105 animatable puppets crafted by 12 sculptors working 6 days a week. There were also 2,000 more puppets made for background characters.
I have literally no idea how you pitch a stop motion animation movie and someone goes, yeah, that's a good idea, because it's so much work.
That's the thing.
It's one of the most unreasonable ways to make a movie.
That's why I love stop motion so much, is because it's like such an insane amount of work and like time, but it looks so good a lot of the time.
Yeah, really good stop motion is incredible.
But it's like, pitching it to a studio is like a little... Like Guillermo del Toro probably was only able to make the stop motion Pinocchio movie because he won Best Picture for Shape of Water.
Guillermo del Toro.
That's what I mean. Yeah. But like, and Wes Anderson the same for this.
Yeah.
And like, Kubo and the Two Strings, I'm pretty sure technically the director of that movie is a nepo baby, so like his dad's studio just funded it.
But like the Tim Burton ones too.
That's Tim Burton. You know, it's like you kind of need
a lot of juice to make a stop motion.
Yeah, you need a lot of like, trust me on this one, or come on, do me a solid.
Yeah,
and like that's the thing. Like generally, I'm against like nepotism in any field, but like when I heard that Kubo and the Two Strings director was a nepo baby, I was kind of like, yeah, but like it resulted in some great art, you know? It's like if that kind of a thing wouldn't be made otherwise, then like I'm okay with that.
Who is this guy? Kubo and the Two Strings.
Don't look into it too much. Spoilers, man.
Oh, why are we gonna do it? I was just trying to figure out who this man was.
Yeah, I'm absolutely gonna do that one.
Phil Knight. Oh, he's the son of the fucking Nike guy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's like Nike's got money to spare.
Well, he's not getting paid from Nike for it.
I know, but I mean, like the studio's being funded by his dad.
Did he do fucking Bumblebee?
The movie?
I think he might have done Bumblebee. He was also a rapper.
Dude, you're wasting content for the Kubo episode. In this episode, This is all great content,
What
man.
the fuck? This guy's a fucking
Dude, close the
freak.
tab and forget what you saw. We gotta save the. Oh, he just got reset. Oh no, he reset fully. Pooped in my diaper, dude. You did not say pooped in my diaper.
Pooped in
when
my
you were
diaper.
Just born.
That was my first words.
Your first word was pooped.
No, my first words were, "Mom, I took a shit."
Okay.
Because my dad always says that.
Wait, you learned that because your dad?
Yeah, he
always
just loves
says
talking like that.
Nice. But yeah, so like obviously the effort put into this movie is absolutely insane. And I think it pays off because it looks great. And I do like the story. But I do agree with you that like the pacing and structure of the movie kind of like limits it a little bit. Like,
And the fact that the Japanese isn't subtitled also just like...
Well, that's the thing. We're talking about the voice actors. We're not even mentioning the Japanese characters because it feels like they're just kind of like we're not supposed to even be listening to them. Because they're
either translated through like Frances McDormand or someone like that, or they're just like nothing.
Yeah.
Because like I associate Kobayashi more with Frances McDormand's character telling you what Kobayashi's saying than actually the character and the voice actor of Kobayashi.
Exactly. It's just a little bit strange. It's just weird for them to like set up this rule for the movie at the beginning and then play by it the whole time, but also throw in like things to make it easier. And it's like, just don't have that rule.
Yeah.
Like, I get that it's like...
It adds something to the world building and like... It adds a little something, but also like... I don't know. I would just rather know what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, the only times we really understand Atari is when he like says like sito when he's trying to get them to sit. It's like, well, yeah, I understand that. But
or like
even then,
the
dogs then go, oh, well, I understand that. He's trying to tell us to sit.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to tell us that. Like, I don't know. It's just very... It does feel like they're using the Japanese set piece and the Japanese culture and backdrop, but they're not really like...
They're shying away from the Japanese.
Yeah, they're shying away from the Japanese characters.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And I think that is probably... I do genuinely think the biggest negative is like the focus on like... And I know it was made for a Western audience, but like the focus on Western characters. And,
well, no, it's not even that. It's the erasure of the Japanese stuff.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Like, because you can focus... Obviously, if you're making a movie for like Western people, you're a white dude, you're going to make the characters famous actors in Hollywood because you have to sell the movie to people in Hollywood and like sell the movie to people in America. And that also plays internationally.
But also like...
But the fact that he just like decided, no, we don't need to understand what the Japanese characters are saying.
Yeah.
That's like useless.
And it's also kind of like, what is the Japanese dub of this movie? Like, does it just make absolutely no sense because we hear Japanese and then we hear someone in Japanese translate the Japanese? It's like, it's just like very strange where it's like, I feel like he was like, all right, I want to do a movie in Japan.
It's probably just
all
subbed.
in Japanese, but I don't want to do subtitles and I don't want to do a dub. And then it's just like, so you... Like, it probably felt like such a good idea to be like, oh, all the characters are going to speak their native language, so it's like everything's being translated for you. Or, sorry, nothing's being translated.
Well, they kind of do this in West Side Story, the one that we watched.
Yeah.
Where it's like Rachel Ziegler and her family are speaking Spanish, and it's not subtitled, but it's clear enough that you can kind of pick up on it.
Yeah. And
whereas, like, there's full paragraphs and, like, lines of dialogue that you just, unless you know Japanese, you kind of can't understand because also the language is so much different from English.
Yeah.
Like Spanish, you can kind of be like, you kind of pick it up because they're sort of speaking. It's like a bit of an analog to English. People in America and Canada are kind of exposed to Spanish more.
Yeah.
And like, there's a bunch of words that are like sound like English. Like they're played off the same language. Japanese is not like that, so you can't kind of like pick up Japanese unless you've like studied Japanese. Well, you can't just kind of like pick it up.
And in West Side Story, they were able to be like, we are like immigrants living in the U.S., so we have incentive to want to speak English.
Yeah.
So like they'd be able to say some Spanish, but then have a character be like, you got to practice your English, talk in English. And then they'd say some in English, go back to Spanish, and then like it kind of worked there for them to kind of use both in a way. But here it kind of just feels like the Japanese characters are kind of just there, and it's like, just wait for one of the Western characters to explain what's going on. And it's like, I'd rather just know what they're saying. Like, you watched the entirety of Spirited Away with subtitles. You were able to get the emotion from the voice acting and the context from the subtitles. That's how a subtitled foreign film works. But like with this, it feels like I'm getting the emotion with none of the context from the Japanese characters. But then like getting the context from a Western character after. And it's like, why do I need this character to explain to me what this other character's saying? I feel like I should just know what that.
This seems like a
saying.
stupid rule for him to set up. But we're being negative again. Looks great. Yeah, really well made. Do you have anything else before I ask you some questions?
I do. Sure. I do feel like the voice acting is good. Yeah. Like I feel like Bryan Cranston does a good job. I feel like when he switches over from like I guess just Garbage Island Chief to Megasaki Chief, basically. Like, there is, like, kind of a noticeable difference in his delivery because he's changed. I did briefly think Spots was also voiced by Bryan Cranston.
But it's someone else, right? It's, like, Liev Schreiber or something.
Liev Schreiber, I think, is... Or maybe it is Liev Schreiber. I think it might be.
I don't know.
It's someone else, though. I have the whole list of actors here.
Well, it seems like you aren't using it.
But I don't know. I just really liked Bryan Cranston in it. The other four dogs are just fine. Like you said, I think that they're funny once in a while. Every time Jeff Goldblum's dog talked, I was just like, that's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, it's Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber? Okay. Because I also thought Spots was good. We're getting a little incoming here.
Incoming!
She texted me, told me she bought a vinyl and was coming to drop it off.
Play it, play it, play it.
You're gonna play it on your podcast?
Is it Ed Sheeran?
No.
Ah, shit.
Bye. It's Black Country New Road.
It better be minus.
The album?
The Ed Sheeran album.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I really like the movie a lot. I feel like it's a movie I like to just kind of put on because it's very...
aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it's very aesthetically pleasing. I feel like I'm kind of transported there a little bit. Even if, like, the structure of the story's a little bit strange, I still like the story itself.
You could take almost any frame from this movie and, like, put it in a picture frame.
Yeah. Dude, genuinely, one of the shots from this movie was my LinkedIn banner photo for a while.
Did that get you any jobs?
No. But I honestly feel like this movie might be similar. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but similar to our movie for next week, Alita Battle Angel, where it's like there's so much about the movie that I really like. It has some like very glaring obvious weaknesses.
Yeah.
But like there's enough there that I'm like, that was a very enjoyable time. Now I would say that I like this movie more than Alita. At least I think so. We'll see next week. But like, I don't know. I just get a like really fun feeling from this movie. Just the way of storytelling, like seeing Spots in his cage on Garbage Island all alone, perfectly centered in the frame, but like very small. And like then it starts raining. It's just like everything feels very picturesque.
And I like the way they do the fights, where it's just like a big cloud.
Yeah, it's just a big cloud, and once in a while you see like a paw or something, and then it does like a zoom in. Dude, there's so many moments in this movie where like I'll be watching it and then I'll be like, dude, that was all pictures. Like, they took pictures of little models they moved around for that whole bit.
Yeah, that's psychotic.
Like, there was one shot, I think it's when the dogs are watching Atari fly his plane, and then
where
the
it
wing
goes
clips
like,
off. Yeah. And then it, like, falls down. Yeah. But then there's, like, an explosion, and the explosion is, like, clearly, like, dyed wool or whatever. But, like, then it, like, pulls the frame back so that you see the dogs in the foreground now. So the explosion cloud shrinks, but, like, because it's not actually as far away as it's supposed to seem, they had to make the explosion smaller as they pulled back. So, like, it's so slightly noticeable that they shrink it, and they use less wool as it zooms back. But then they also, like, put it out of focus so that you can see one of the dogs, like, turn around and be like, whoa, or whatever the fuck he says. But it's like, that's one of the shots where I was like, dude, they had to figure out how to do, like, a pullback depth of field change, like, whole thing in a tiny, like 5-foot area.
The amount of, like, little cutaways there are to, like, just a family in their kitchen watching the TV.
Yeah.
Or, like, something like that. It's like, that's like a second and a half in the movie.
Yeah.
It took weeks, maybe a month to build that whole thing.
Yeah. And it's just to make the world feel more real and lived in.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of what makes the movie good. Is, like, the world. And I can't believe we haven't mentioned this yet. To me, the best scene in the whole movie is the sushi making scene.
Yeah.
When they're making the sushi that then they put the little wasabi poison on to kill the
that's incredible.
head, like,
it's like Bao. You watch Bao?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, where you're just like,
And
this is the best way to shoot making food.
Yeah, and in Turning Red also, when we
yeah.
reviewed it, there's, like, him making the food, where it's like, man, I mean, it's also a thing in anime as well, where it's like, animated food just looks so good.
We didn't
like,
talk about the food in Spirited Away.
Yeah.
But, like, the way they're just, like, biting a full chicken and, like, ripping it out.
Yeah.
It's, like, disgusting.
Yeah. But, like, there's something, like, even more nuts about stop motion food. Because it, like, feels much more tangible. I get, like, the same kind of feeling. I never was one of the people that wanted to eat a Tide Pod. But, like, that same mentality where you're like, that looks like a little snack. Like, that's how I feel watching the stop motion sushi scene, where I'm like,
That's how I feel about that little ceramic behind you.
this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute little guy.
Yeah.
Little pea in a pod.
Thanks. I'm glad that you said it's like a little pea in a pod, because it was supposed to be an octopus, but I was like, I don't want to make an octopus. I want to make, like, a little golden ball sitting on, like, a little red velvet.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't
thing.
even pick up that could be an octopus.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes me so happy, because everyone was like, what a cute octopus. And I'm like, it's not an octopus, mother! But, yeah, the sushi scene's just nuts. I also just really like
Kind of blew it out there.
head. That's fine. I really like the head scientist guy who's, like, desperately.
Is that the Ken Watanabe
I
character?
think so.
Because his name is Dr. Watanabe.
Yeah. Oh, and also, his assistant is Yoko Ono-san,
Yeah, but
voice
her name's-
acted by Yoko Ono.
And she's got a little Y and an O in her hair.
Yeah, I was like, why do they keep calling this character Yoko Ono?
'Cause
And
it's
then
Yoko
I was like,
Ono.
oh, because it's Yoko Ono. But I don't know. I just really liked the scientists aspect of it. Like, because that's another scene that's, like, really impressive that they did stop motion, is when they're, like, testing all of the
that's
vaccines.
incredible.
Because there's, like, huge, like, light flashes. There's, like, things fucking spinning and moving around. And I'm like, how are
There's
they?
liquid moving through the pipes, and you're like, how the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, there's, like, so many moments where I'm like, I have no idea how this happened. Like, even the, like, light flash, instinctively I was like, oh, and then they added a light flash in post. And then I was like, wait, no.
Yeah.
They had to, like, get the lighting brightness right per frame so that it looks like a perfect light flash. And it was just like,
It's incredible.
and then they do a whole other thing where you're like, wait, they already did dog flu and snout fever and whatever the third thing was. What's this fourth test? And then it's just them making a little drink so that they can celebrate making the vaccine.
I thought the drink was going to make them kill themselves or something.
Yeah, like, we did it.
Yeah. And then he dies later.
Well,
Spoilers.
that's the thing. The sushi scene leading up to the poison was like, I felt so tense, and the fact that he left that one last, gets a little on his finger, and then he just licks it a tiny bit. It's like, man, he shouldn't have licked it.
Don't lick that.
Never lick that.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Absolutely.
What's your dog name? Scruffers?
Scruffers?
What kind of dog are you?
I don't
first
know.
of all?
What kind of dog am I?
Something like red.
I honestly think I'm probably like, it's a basic pick, but I'm probably like a lab or a golden retriever.
Yeah, but you're not like nice. I'm probably like a pit bull.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, in a way, I'm like Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide.
You're kind of like a pit bull because like they're like very sweet, but they also have the capacity to like
Kill.
to bite someone's
And
leg.
everyone knows they have hard bones.
Yeah.
Because apparently I have hard bones.
Yeah, you have
he
hard
says.
bones.
Fucking freak.
I don't know. I feel like I'm missing a type of dog. Maybe like a Shiba Inu or something.
Oh, I guess.
That's a little bit me.
That could work.
Thanks.
And I assume your dog name will be like Toilet Dog, Toilet Boy.
I feel like my dog name would be like one of the... It would just be like an old man name. Like
Greg.
I wasn't thinking Greg. I was thinking like
Christopher.
Mortimer or some shit.
Mordecai.
Mordecai? Mort-decai.
We'll do that next
Morty.
month.
Mort.
We're doing that next month.
Mort the Shiba Inu.
You're a Shiba.
I'm a Shiba Shimu?
Yeah, my dog name's probably like Stockton.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Isn't it crazy that Japan is actually like that? Like, this is exactly what Japan's like.
Yeah.
They don't have cars. They use wires to get around.
Well, I feel like that was more like a transporting materials thing.
They use wires to get around.
Okay, sure.
Who gives the best performance?
I
I feel like it's kind of hard to say.
It is hard to say. My gut is honestly maybe Liev Schreiber with spots.
I like Greta Gerwig's performance.
Yeah, I think she does a good job, yeah. I just
I
feel
think
like
Kobayashi's really good as well, except I just like, I don't know. There's the thing with the subtitles that's annoying.
Yeah.
But like, that character is very convincing and very like scary kind of.
Yeah.
So I think it could be whoever did Kobayashi.
Yeah. I think for me it's probably Liev Schreiber because I think Spots was participated in the most like emotional scenes. Like there's the scene when, because I guess we haven't mentioned this part of the plot, but like Atari's parents died in a train accident that he was also on, but he survived. He just lost a kidney.
That was a great scene too. The fucking surgery scene.
Oh yeah, that was nuts too.
Oh my god! And also Kobayashi's Kenichi Nomura.
Yeah, he's the one who I don't know if he was a co-writer or whether he was just like, because he's like friends with Wes Anderson, so it was like kind of both of their ideas to make this movie.
I can figure that out.
But like, yeah, when because Atari loses one kidney in the train accident that kills his parents, and then he gets Spots as like his protector dog, and they're like not allowed to be friends because it's not his pet, it's his protector. But because they have this little like voice link where they can understand each other, there's like a bit where like Atari talks very quietly into it to talk to Spots, and we don't know what he's saying. But and I kind of wish we did, but like then Spots talks and he's like, "I can hear you, Atari. I can hear you, Master Atari." And they're like both tearing up, and like there's something very sweet about that because like this movie is ultimate. Like the large story of this movie is like about corruption and conspiracy and like Kobayashi. Like there's assassinations. There's like
and like
news
fascism
cover-ups
and
and like there's a lot of that. But at the core of it, it's about a boy and his dog.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of contrast is part of what makes me like it, because it's like, oh, there's this big grand conspiracy, but at the heart, it's just about this bond. And like, oh man, did I write down what his? I think I did, because he has a like haiku when he like gives the speech at the end. Atari does, and his haiku is, "Whatever happened to man's best friend, falling spring blossom," and like. Then and like that visual is crazy because he's got like a bunch of shit happening behind him, like it's a stage play when he gives the haiku. It's very cool. But then it's kind of weird because then the translator who's been translating the whole time, like his whole speech, when he says the haiku, Frances McDormand's translator character just says something like, he just said a haiku. Like, if you can't tell
what it is later.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is later. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just like a bit of a weird.
Yeah.
It felt like a weird punctuation to the like kind of beautiful thing that was just said.
Yeah.
Because we do get subtitles for that because they did it in the format of the haiku being told, which they did kind of at the beginning as well. But anyway, sorry, this was all a long-winded way to say I think Liev Schreiber's my favorite performance. And then maybe I think Atari as well. I think Atari does a good job throughout it.
Let me just check who plays Atari so we can.
I have the name here. It was Koyu Rankin.
So sick.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with those.
What's my next question? You should know it.
Yep.
Who fits naturally as a dog voice?
Honestly, maybe Bill Murray.
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense.
Bill Murray's got a bit of a dog voice. I felt like F. Murray Abraham as Jupiter.
Oh, he was also very.
He kind of fit well.
He made sense as like a Saint Bernard or whatever he is.
Yeah, and like as like not a fortune teller because that's Tilda Swinton's character, but as like the wise man. Dog. So I thought.
I love that he gives him a little drink there too.
Yeah.
Do you like any other Wes Anderson movies? I like Grand Budapest.
I like Grand Budapest, yeah.
How many other ones have you seen?
Honestly, it might just be those two, but I do really like Grand Budapest.
Zizou, Rushmore, Bottle Rocket, Moonrise Kingdom.
No.
That one's pretty good. I like that one. Dispatch. What else is there? Fantastic Mr. Fox. Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh wow. I feel like that's like another.
That was like tough because in almost everything I read about Isle of Dogs, it was like, you gotta listen to, you gotta watch Fantastic Mr. Fox. I was like, well,
I think that's probably the one that makes him so he's able to make this movie.
Yeah.
Because let me look at this movie made $64 million. I don't know what the budget is. It's not saying the budget. But it made $64 million at the box office, which is like fine, I guess, but seems not great for a movie that you'd assume is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's Fantastic Mr. Fox didn't make much more money. It made $46 million on a $40 million budget.
Yeah.
So I assume that
I feel
Isle
like
of
a
Dogs
lot of
cost
these,
a little more.
Yeah, I feel like these kinds of movies are often to please the director, where it's like, we'll let you make this movie if you also make this movie for us.
But he doesn't even do that, though. I don't know how he gets to keep... Like, this isn't me saying I don't think he should make any more movies, but I don't know how he's managed to keep making movies when, like... A lot of his movies don't do incredible. Like, French Dispatch, $25 million budget, $46 million box office.
Yeah.
And now that came out during COVID. Grand Budapest, I think, was, like, his big one. $25 million, $173 million.
Whoa.
So that's huge. And then we like, but
Dude,
look,
it's kind of nuts that Grand Budapest's budget was only $25 million, or whatever you said.
Well, I guess he makes movies for pretty cheap, right?
Yeah.
Moonrise. Oh, 68 on 16 million.
All right.
35 on 17
That's
for Darjeeling
probably the
Limited.
pitch then, is that I don't make movies for super pricey. Like my movies aren't super pricey.
Yeah.
Usually they get like critical praise.
And there's a chance it makes like double or triple its budget.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense then.
And I just feel like having a Wes Anderson movie on your like roster is probably not an unattractive thing to studios. So
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, wow. I guess he just like does pretty well.
yeah.
Like his movies aren't like box office smashes except for Grand Budapest, but
Yeah. Well, even that was like a light smash.
well, that's a big smash for like a $25 million movie. That's like
guess so.
John Wick 1,
Oh yeah.
where it's like it didn't make like a billion, but if it makes
But didn't
over
you say it
100,
only made like 116 million?
175, but it cost
still-
25 million.
That's still pretty good. I
So you're
guess.
making like 7
That's probably
times your
closer
budget
to like
back.
a Quiet Place kind of deal. Although
Yeah.
that was that, except that one like scaled down a bit because that movie was like $16 million budget and then
Quiet
made like
Place.
yeah, I forget how much that was, but I just remember that being like a pretty big profit margin there.
Let's see, on A Quiet Place, 17,341,000. Ooh,
Yeah, there you go.
wow,
Big.
big. Would you go into Isle of Dogs VR world? Did you see this on the Wikipedia that they made a VR?
I did see that, and I tried to look
Experience?
into it, and I couldn't really find much about it.
It seems like something where they pitched it as like, this is another revenue stream for the movie, and then it was just like, not.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like they have that VR Batman game, which I'm sure like
It's
100,000 people have played, or
Yeah.
maybe 1 million people have played, but like
I
no
feel
one
like
cares
VR's
about
not
it,
quite there yet.
especially in 2018.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I remember talking about VR in like 2015. Like, is when I feel like people started talking. Maybe even before then.
yeah,
But like, I expected by this point that it would be a little bit more like normalized or like common. Like I was saying to Olivia the other day, I remember writing a paper in the 9th grade about the like 360 treadmill
Oh yeah,
things.
how that's gonna be the future of video games. and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like you put the VR headset on, you've got the like motion controllers in your hand, and you can actually run on the spot and you run in game.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be the future of gaming. Not even close. Why would you think that?
Well,
but
like,
VR I get being a thing, but like a week ago I went to Walmart and saw the new PSVR 2. It's like $890. It's like I'm
Yeah.
not getting that.
And there's also a thing with VR where it's like I don't think people like being that closed off from the world.
Yeah,
Like-
I think some people find it a little scary.
Well, because like the thing is, you'd imagine like with all the AR tech and like the VR stuff, it's like, well, no one thought we'd have phones in our pockets, but now we do. It's like, yeah, but with a cell phone, you can kind of like take it off or like ignore it or whatever.
Yeah.
With VR, you've got to shut your entire world down
And
to
shut
be
it
in
out.
VR.
Like I feel like genuinely, to an extent, VR kind of removes object permanence a little bit. Like you
Yeah.
see all those videos of people putting on a VR headset and forgetting that they're in front of a TV and then they smash
smashing
it.
Yeah.
But like, I remember the game VR Chat. It still is pretty popular, but like there was a period where it was like really popular, especially with like streamers and stuff.
Yeah.
But like there were some streamers who were being like, yeah, sometimes I like have to check in with myself that I'm not in VR Chat. Or like people, because like you would like lift up your arm in a certain way in game and it would like show you your Twitch chat in game so you could like interact with chat while being in VR. So like there were people who were saying that they would like do that arm motion to check chat while they were making a fucking sandwich. And it's just like, that's just like,
Yeah.
so, and because I have that with games sometimes where like I played the new Star Wars game like
You thought you
nonstop
could
for
use
like
the
a few
Force.
days, but then like I'd be going to sleep and like I'd be waking up being like, I gotta go kill that boss, or like I gotta upgrade my lightsaber or whatever. And like I had that with Spider-Man. I had that with like once in a while I have that with games or just
Yeah.
anything that takes up a lot of my time and energy. It happened when I watched Spirited Away for the first time, where I was just like constantly thinking about it. But like with VR, you are in it.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you have those moments where you think about it, like
It feels like it's literally your life.
yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pitched it as like we want to transport people into the movie so they can like it's going to be insane, and the studio being like, if it'll make us money, and then them being like, no, it's not actually going to make you any money really.
And it also like even with the AR stuff, like smartphones really fucked up kind of everything.
Yeah.
Because now you kind of feel like you have to be doing something all the time.
Yeah.
Because like there's this idea that like you can be productive all the time, so you should be productive all the time. And it's like once it's not like you can get away from it from like taking your phone out of your pocket or just leaving your phone in your pocket or whatever. Where it's like now it's in your contacts, it's in your glasses. Like while you're walking down the street, you can look at shit and like work on shit.
Dude,
like,
I feel like I would hate that.
Yeah.
Like it's already at the point now where, like you said, if I'm not doing anything, I feel like I should be. So sometimes I instinctively pull out my phone because it's like, at least I'm doing something.
Yeah.
But being on my phone is preventing me from doing anything actually productive.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I hate
all the technology that we have now that we've have no decision in whether we need to use it or not.
Yeah.
Or want to use it.
Dude, I saw a clip from It's Always Sunny. It's the one where like they're talking about how Charlie is like insane and like he needs to stop, and he's like, yeah, we gotta get this guy out of here or whatever it is. And the caption was just like, no AI like Chat GPT could write this. And it was just like, I was like, that's the thing. All these people being like, why are the writers striking? Like, ChatGPT could write these remakes because all they're doing is making remakes.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't get it. It's like, technology can't do everything.
Yeah.
And like, we shouldn't want it to. Like, I don't want to watch a ChatGPT Star Wars movie. Like,
well, it's also like the thing that is easy for a computer to decide is what movie to greenlight, kind of, because it's like, what should we make? This original movie or like a Little Mermaid live action remake?
Yeah.
And the computer's like, well, this original movie, there's no precedent. Little Mermaid, it made $100 million or whatever the fuck. And then so it's like, of course, pick the Little Mermaid one.
Yeah.
But then you watch the movies and there's like nothing kind of interesting about them.
Yeah.
Because it's just like executives being like, okay, this is what you're making, so make this, but obviously you don't have the advantages of animation or like
it's
all
like
of that shit.
We watched the Jeremy Jean's review for the new Little Mermaid movie, and he was like, yeah, Ariel's good in it because it's Halle Bailey.
Yeah. And like the relationship with Eric is pretty good, but then everything else around it is annoying. And
Yeah.
like
It's basically like the good singer and actress is good at acting and singing, and like this other guy is good in the movie, but everything that the studio was a part of is bad, basically.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. I feel like they'll eventually. Well, they're not gonna stop because they make money. People keep seeing
Yeah,
them.
this movie's gonna make $1 billion.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I just like, I feel like it's gonna come to a point where like, especially with the writer's strike, shit's gonna start getting bad, and then people are gonna realize that you need writers again.
Well, that's
like
the
they
thing.
did.
Dude,
before.
I saw that Andor season 2
is pushing through.
They're like, yeah, we're being heavily affected by the writer's strike, but we're pushing through anyway. And it's like, no, dude. The thing that made the first season good was that you actually had competent writers for the first fucking time. Like, don't.
You had one of the best screenwriters alive working on the project.
Yeah.
Let's not just push through.
Yeah, so I'm so scared that that's going to be bad. I hope what happens is that, like, Tony Gilroy comes back and all the writers come back and they're like, no, this is garbage. We have to do it again. And they convince the studio to just do it again.
I mean, this shit might go on for, like, another 6 months, so...
Dude, here's the thing. I'm fine with things starting to, like, suck because writers are striking. What I'm not okay with is it affecting the ones I like. So, like... hurry up and because they're not even asking for that much, dude.
Well, the thing I think that's holding them up is when they said, can you give us like a guarantee about like some AI stuff? They were like, let's not let you use AI.
Which
and
is
then the
smart
studios
for
were
them to
like,
do because they're jumping on it quick.
we're saying no, and there's no counter to this. Where it's like the studios really need to use AI. Because the thing that they're like eating off of, which is why they can't pay the writers, is because there were very little regulations for the internet because they didn't know about the streaming thing. Like, how could you foresee the streaming thing? So now they're like, we need to get in front of this AI stuff. And the studio's like, well, if they got in front of the internet stuff, this would have been bad for us. So we can't let them get in front of the AI stuff.
Yeah. Which is just like so abysmal, man.
Yeah.
To be like, wait, you're asking for us not to replace you with mindless, soulless, heartless tech?
Yeah. It's going to kill movies. And then I think there's going to be there's going to be people that come up and then like make original movies that are like cheaper.
Yeah.
And
well,
like
that's
more inventive and stuff like that, while the studios devolve into hog shit because they're either using AI or just remaking all the shit.
The thing that worries me is that you and I care about this a lot, but most people don't.
Yeah, I think
that's not me trying to be like we're like
no,
better.
I know what you mean. Like,
I'm just saying,
would my
like,
parents be like opposed to? Because like people still watch Hallmark movies. People still watch shit horror movies.
Yeah. And like most of the movies that people are willing to go out and see are ones that are remakes of things they know they like.
Yeah.
Or like parts of franchises they know they
But
like.
like the MCU's kind of fallen apart, even with Guardians doing bad. That Fast and Furious movie did well, but like everyone seems to not like it.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Did Guardians do bad?
It didn't do bad, but it didn't do like, I don't know if it's going to make $1 billion, which is kind of their bar. And I don't think one has made $1 billion since like, I don't even remember the last MCU movie.
Spider-Man.
$1 million. Oh, Spider-Man.
I was going to say Endgame, but Spider-Man's kind of the one outlier of the new batch.
Let's see what Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has made. Oh, wait.
Because I've heard good things.
It's a like pretty decent movie.
I'm not gonna see it in theaters.
It's made $73 million, and it's been out since the start of May. We're coming up on a month. It's not gonna make another $300 million.
Yeah.
It'll probably top out around like $750.
I mean, that's still good.
It's still good. It's great, but like it's less than the first one made.
Yeah,
and probably less than the second one made.
Honestly, like I kind of. Like, I liked Marvel. I still like a lot of the movies. The new ones I don't really care about. It's like, I know superhero fatigue has been talked about for like 15 fucking years. But like, I feel like it's like so many people I talk to are just like, yeah, it's like, I'm not really interested anymore.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like within the next 5-10 years it's kind of gonna either have a rebirth in some way or just fall off completely, which I'd be fine with because I'd love to see some new stuff.
And I think that's might be the case for like all the Wes Anderson stuff, because he's making fairly cheap movies that are very original and very in his vision.
Yeah.
And like inventive.
Way to bring it back.
And I don't know, I think that's the thing I appreciate about this movie is like, I don't love the script. There's some things I don't like, but it is so incredible that this was made. It's such an incredible piece of art.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm just really glad it exists.
Yeah. And like, I don't know if I'll watch it again, but like, you've watched it a bunch of times.
I mean, I've
right?
probably watched it like 4 times, 5 times.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Don't discount yourself.
I just mean like some people are like, this is my favorite movie. I watch it 17 times a year.
Yeah, but those people are also kind of uninteresting.
It's like when people find out that like I've only seen each of the Star Wars movies. Like I've seen some more than others, but like there's some of the Star Wars movies I've seen like maybe like 12, 15 times in my life total. And
is
it's
that
like
max? Is that a lot or is that a little?
I don't know.
No, but like is 12, 15 times your low end or your high end?
Like probably I'm saying that's probably like in the middle. The low end is probably like, I mean, obviously newer ones I've seen less times.
Yeah.
But like
Attack of the Clones. How many times have you seen that one?
Attack of the Clones total, I've probably... I mean, the thing is, like, I probably rewound that VHS as a kid a billion times. But, like, if I were to guess, an educated guess, I'd probably say I've watched Attack of the Clones probably, like, 11 times.
That's psychotic.
But, like, I've seen, like, Revenge of the Sith probably, like, 20, 25 times.
I don't know if I've ever seen a movie 25 times.
Dude, it was just, like, all I watched as a kid. But, I mean, like...
It makes sense why you like it. I don't think I've ever rewatched any movie 25 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Even the Fast and Furious movies?
I've seen maybe 5 times is the most I've seen one of them.
Actually, well, the thing is, I don't know if I've watched Revenge of the Sith 25 times, but, like, I've definitely watched, like...
Enough for you to watch it 25 times? Like, enough clips and stuff?
Well, yeah, because, like, we had the, like, DVD with bonus features for Revenge of the Sith, and they had, like, hours of, like, featurettes and, like, mini docs and stuff like that on there. I watch that stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, I probably could quote the behind-the-scenes Revenge of the Sith stuff as well as I can quote Revenge of the Sith.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Who would you want Adam Driver to play?
My gut. If I'm throwing out my gut here,
throw it out.
I'm throwing my gut out.
Take your gut out, put it on the table.
I don't know. Maybe like
I was thinking Chief.
You were thinking Chief? I think I just like Bryan Cranston. What's this guy's name? The dog that like
with the sports jersey?
No, the dog that has like half of his face.
Oh, his name's like Gondo or something. Gonzo? I think his name is Gonzo.
I can barely read it.
Blango?
On this here thing.
Let me figure it out. I can Google.
But like he's the cannibal dog that like takes in spots.
He's not
and, like,
cannibals.
I know they ate one dog. But they Gondo. He's the one that's kind of like so you heard that rumor or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's basically like tells the story of all the dogs that are in the like old experimentation lab. I feel like he'd be good in that one. I don't know. Or just like one of the 4 other dogs. Like Boss.
Yeah.
I just don't think I'd put him in Spots or Chief.
Wow.
Or like Jupiter. I don't know.
What about Mayor Kobayashi?
Bad idea, I think.
And where are we ranking this one?
Well, I just remembered there was one character I want to mention that we haven't mentioned thus far, and it's the little hacker kid.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about him until the very end.
Not sure he even has a line, but he pops up on Garbage Island to, like, steal the black box from Atari's plane. Mm. He, like, shows up at a protest on the TV where he's, like, he just, like, is everywhere he's not supposed to be to, like, gather evidence for their case. And I just think he's really... I just like that.
And then
character.
At the end, he's, like, in the booth and hacks into all the, like, tech and shit.
Yeah, because the major domo, even though Mayor Kobayashi's like, I'm repealing my decision to, like, kill all the dogs, basically...
Major Domo still pushes the button.
He still pushes the button. We see like the circuit go all the way through, but then they all just shut down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see the little hacker kid turn around towards the camera and give a little thumbs up. I just thought that was funny. I like that character. All right, where are we ranking this is the question indeed.
I think it's a middle of the pack one.
Okay.
Let me try and pull it up here.
Oh, also, I'll mention this just because we did do Spirited Away this month, but I don't know if this really even means much, but Wes Anderson did say that this movie was heavily inspired by Akira Kurosawa and Hayao Miyazaki, and Miyazaki did Spirited Away.
I could see that.
There's like a little bit of that in there. It does
like
feel a little bit like
about Japan.
It's a movie about Japan. I'm inspired by the Japanese filmmakers. Yeah. It's just like a little bit. Anyway, do you have the list up?
Yeah.
Why don't you start, and then I'll because I still need to think about where I want to put.
I feel like this is in the turning red zone.
Turning red zone. Yeah.
I don't know if it's above or below Turning Red.
I'd say I do really like Turning Red. I'd probably put it just above Turning Red. Just because of the nature of what...
You think it's a more impressive, like, production feat to make sort of thing?
I think that just in general, I like this movie more than more than Apollo 13, but more than Turning Red. Turning Red is like a beautifully animated film, and it's like a fun story.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this is like, I don't know. This feels like I'm sitting down for an experience, I guess.
Sure.
So, but I understand not wanting to put it above Fast Five. So, I mean, we're going to move. Here's the thing. I'm going to operate under the assumption that Fast Five's probably going to be moved up at least a little bit at some point. But, like, do I like this movie better than Kimmy? I probably do, but I don't know if you would.
I think it's like the tier thing like we talked about where it's like, it's kind of in the same tier as all that.
Yeah. But, like, where are we placing it is my thing. Because I would...
think just above Turning Red.
Okay, because I would put it just above Kimmy. But
Yeah. I mean, I like this less than Fast Five.
Yeah. Dude, we really should have moved
Fast Five up. Because that's been our struggle with a lot of these.
It feels just like so weird. Like, because I feel like it defeats the purpose of doing the reshuffles if we reshuffle not in a reshuffle. I feel like Fast Five being there is going to fuck up our rankings for like the rest of the... Well, you know what? Should we just make an executive decision here? Should we move Fast Five? Where would you move?
Trade Fast Five and Police Story?
I guess I did say that before.
Would you be open to that?
My thing is like, because where would you put it with no compromise?
On my personal list?
Yeah,
it's a top 5.
Okay, so then yeah, maybe. Because I would put it probably below Scream. Like, I'd probably put it...
Around About Time?
Yeah. So, like, I feel like swap Police Story and Fast Five is not egregious.
And then I'm okay with putting this above Kimmy.
Okay. So here, let me just do this real quick. Fast Five is moving from 17 to 12. Big jump.
Big jump.
And Police Story is moving from
12 to 17.
From 12 to 17.
Sorry, Jackie.
I really hope that I don't watch Police Story again and go, why the fuck did we move that down? That's incredible. I do really like the movie.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there's just something about those rankings there were just a little strange.
Yeah.
So now Fast Five at 12, Police Story at 17. And we're going to put
Isle of Dogs below John Wick.
Just below John Wick and above Kimmy.
There we go. And now we've got 28 movies on the list.
I honestly feel like having Fast Five up a bit will make it easier for us to rank movies in there.
It's going to open us up to so many new experiences.
Because I think you were having with Fast Five what I was having with Harry Potter for a little bit, where it was like, I like this movie better than most, or not with Harry Potter. Maybe it's something else. But where it's like, I like this movie better than a lot of these. Yeah. Better than a lot of these movies, but not as much as these movies, so it gets a little complicated. Mm-hmm. That's why we compromise. I'm fine with moving Fast Five up, because I didn't realize it was like so high on your list. I feel like maybe you didn't fight hard enough for it in the episode. Maybe I have to listen to that episode again.
I didn't really fight very hard for it. I probably should have. But I was like, Adam's not going to like this. It's not his kind of movie.
I don't not like the movie. I think it just doesn't hit. It's basically...
Well, you didn't watch all of the Fast and Furiouses within a week like I did.
Yeah. And also...
Before Fast 10, and then I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, like, I mean, I did watch all of the Star Wars movies before seeing all of the new ones each time.
Yeah, so you watched them for your 33rd, 39th, for 48th time?
Yeah. But, I feel like Fast Five is like your Philosopher's Stone, where it's like, it's good, but like, you also like...
I mean, it's like one of the best. It's one of the best action movies of the century.
Yeah, and like, have you seen anyone better than Rupert Grint in that movie?
She has got to sort out her priorities.
That's good. All right, so I'm gonna summarize this whole section of the list since it's all kind of in the same area. So, West Side, just out of the top 10, Number 11 through...
You can just go to 20.
Sure. Number 11 through 20 is West Side Story, Fast Five, Nope. Let me start again. West Side Story, Fast Five, Scream, About Time, John Wick, Isle of Dogs, Kimmy, Police Story, Turning Red, Apollo 13.
There's no rules.
There's no rules here. I feel like I should make a note. Maybe I'll make a note in this list that, like, whenever we do another reshuffle episode, we should mention that we did this.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning.
Maybe.
But by that point,
everyone's going to know we're going to have 1,000 fans. 1,000 people a day are going to be listening to our podcast, which
So
I guess
true.
isn't really that many.
So true.
If
All
you
right.
think about the big pods.
So Isle of Dogs, currently at number 16 out of 28 on this list. That's pretty good. I'm like, that feels satisfying. Because this is a movie I like a lot, but I also have a lot of problems with, as we discussed. But this feels pretty good, pretty balanced.
Exciting!
All right, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Screen Share Movie Podcast. Hope you're enjoying these epis. If you are, we don't ask this often, but we do once in a while. Feel free to drop a little bit of a review, maybe a like. I don't know what the systems are on all these platforms.
There's a follow on Spotify. You can do a star review. You can do a star and written review on Apple.
Yeah.
And I don't know about those other fucking third party fucking podcast apps.
And if you really like this podcast, I'm not asking you to share it on your social media, ruin your digital footprint. But if you want to tell your friends and family about it, I wouldn't
tell them I
be
don't
upset.
swear. Tell them I don't swear.
Yeah, make sure to tell them we are a family-friendly podcast. We don't say cum. We don't say fuck.
Piss.
Shit.
That's about it.
And on that note, we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Hope you find your dad.
Hope you find your dad. Hope you find your purpose.